The endurance event. Number 10, SUP tours. SUP tours are tours that are done around the world on different bodies of water. SUP stands for stand-up paddleboard. One of the primary locations where these tours are offered is in the Philippines. There are over 7,000 islands in the Philippines, and this means that there is a lot of ground to cover. People go on tours across these still bodies of water while standing on these paddleboards, and it may not seem like it at first, but these things require a lot of stamina. Think about it, rowing yourself around the thousands of islands through the water, and it is sure to be one hell of a workout. It's not like you can just stop mid-tour either. You're in the open water and you're being guided by a tour guide. If you plan to take one of these tours, be sure that your endurance is up to par. Number 9, Yukon River Quest. The Yukon River Quest is an endurance race that takes place on the Yukon River. It is a kayaking race, and it's a huge one. In fact, it's world famous. For the past 18 years, brave souls have rowed down the Yukon River against like-minded individuals. Kayak races are hefty on endurance, physically and mentally. Fortunately, you do not have to kayak alone, as you may have partners with you in a team kayak if you so choose. Regardless, going down a river and rowing and controlling a boat altogether is a very difficult thing. Nevertheless, people come every year to compete, and they enjoy it so much that most of them come back. You certainly have to be physically prepared for a race like this, but if you compete, it would be the time of your life. Number 8, the Salzkammergut Trophy. The Salzkammergut Trophy is an endurance race of epic proportions. This race is centered around mountain bikes. It's located in Europe, and it takes place in various parts of Europe annually. It's a 16-hour race, and the goal is to go 210 kilometers on a bike in that period of time. It's a grueling ride that takes you through the Swiss Alps, and a large part of the race is climbing. The elevation throughout the race consistently raises and peaks out at 7,000 meters. Extreme endurance is required for this race, and most people compete in it train for a year or more. The scenery is beautiful and the air is clean out on the European country, but the challenge is extreme, and the racers are skilled beyond measure. Number 7, Charlie Ramsey Round. The Charlie Ramsey Round is a fell running challenge. Fell running is defined as running on hills or mountains, so essentially it's running on rough terrain. This is a 60-mile run that takes place in Scotland, where runners have to navigate through various mountainous regions. This is not a race, and is a completionist challenge for those who think they can run 60 miles in the mountains. To be exact, this run reaches 24 separate summits, and the people who run this course are some of the most physically fit athletes out there. The fastest time of completion for the round is 16 hours and 13 minutes. Number 6, Yukon Arctic Ultra. The Yukon Arctic Ultra is an extreme condition endurance race that takes place in an incredibly cold environment. This race is located in Whitehorse, Yukon. This is a series of multi-day races that occur in February. The 3 major races in the series follow the course of the Yukon River Quest, but on land, where trekkers will walk 100, 300, and 430 miles respectively. The Arctic Ultra has been labeled as the toughest ultra marathon in the world. The temperature has a tendency to get below negative 50 degrees with wind chill, making this one of the harshest possible environments to test your endurance in. Number 5, Race Across America. The Race Across America is a cycling ultramarathon that takes place in the United States. It is comparable to the Tour de France in the level of endurance required. This race literally consists of racing from the East Coast to the West Coast, which is a trip of over 3,000 miles. This race has 2 pit stops. It's considered a non-stop race, and contestants can rest at their own risk. The best contestants take over a week to complete the trek. It's a race of impressive scope and scale, and it makes other bike races look like a breeze in comparison. This race is actually quite dangerous, and there have been reports of many fatalities and injuries occurring in the history of the contest. It is one of the most extreme ultramarathons available to date. Number 4, Badwater Ultramarathon. This is an extreme foot race of 130 miles, and it features a daunting 7,000-foot rise in sea level, which means that the runners are climbing 7,000 feet, 135 miles uphill. That is not the worst part, though. The worst part is arguably the fact that this event takes place in Badwater. In case you don't know where Badwater is, it's in Death Valley, a place in America where temperatures reach about 130 degrees Fahrenheit and have been known to kill. The endurance required for this event is beyond that of an average marathon, as the runners must be able to resist heat, as well as have an excellent physical strength to carry them so far forward and so far up. The hike ends at the summit of Mount Whitney, and this means that the course features not only desert running, but also mountain climbing of an extreme nature. There have been fatalities coupled with the race, yet it still goes on every year, and runners from around the world make the decision to take on the challenge of a lifetime. Number 3, Pikes Peak Marathon. The Pikes Peak Marathon is another example of a fell running endurance race. Its nature of being a mountain climbing run requires for it to be put on a good mountain, and that is precisely what Pikes Peak is, a big tall mountain. The race starts at the base of the mountain and racers will, throughout the race, climb over 7,800 feet. This event has been going on since 1966, and it generally takes place in late summer. The endurance required for this is extreme. Running on dirt and rocks is not easy. Running is also not easy when you're also trying to climb. The various factors around this race makes it one of the most extreme races out there. People have died while doing this race, and the most common deaths are caused by fatal falls. One of the most dangerous elements of this race, though, is the drop in oxygen level as the elevation rises. This can prove to be very dangerous for people who are running, because when you run, your body takes in and needs more oxygen. The lack of it can cause many people to pass out and even die. This race also has a history of being incorporated as parts of other extreme races in that part of the United States. Number 2. Legion Run. The Legion Run is a type of endurance run that is done by a team of risk-takers and extremophiles. It is a rough experience where runners go through insane obstacles that stand in their way. These barriers include fire, mud, water, and so much more. The team of individuals who compete in this is a very diverse group of many nationalities, genders, and backgrounds. The obstacles of the run are not only built to test the body, but the mind. This makes this run a very engaging and compelling experience. Currently, this event is located in only Rome, Italy, and the next major event will be on November 5, 2016. Number 1. Ford Desert Run. The Ford Desert Run is another extreme condition endurance foot race that goes across a different desert each year. The event has been held in 4 deserts: the Gobi in China, the Sahara in Egypt, the Atacama in Chile, and the last took place in Antarctica. The year that Antarctica was raced in, all of the deserts were raced in the same calendar year. This race prides itself on putting its runners in some of the most extreme environments that our world has to offer. Over 8,000 people have competed in this race and has become world famous with over 50 races conducted to date. If you intend to compete in this, you better be sure that you're prepared for the absolute depths of extreme, because running across 4 deserts in the same year is not likely going to be an easily accomplished task. The people who do compete in these races spend years training and preparing for what is likely going to be the pinnacle event in their lives.